Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're gonna do a little bit of an update on the truck and show you kind of where we're at on it. Now, if you remember from the last video, we got a 2018 Silverado 2500 with the Duramax, and it was a high country trim, so a lot of chrome all over the truck. I'm not a huge fan of chrome, so that's something that I have been working on deleting. I did already delete the top rails on this side, as well as the mirror caps from chrome to black, as well as the Duramax logo over here. I will be also deleting door handles, the little trim on the bottom there, this little logo here, so kind of give you an idea of what I did on the other side for that. Around back, I did create my own little logo here, kind of going with like a black and white, so it's kind of like a stormtrooper look, which is what I'm going for. The white bow tie with the black trim on it and the black Silverado lettering there. Coming onto the side here, so you can see on this side I did already get the door handle switched out, as well as the lower trim, and I did do the Stormtrooper logo on the side as well, and of course the Duramax up top. Now coming around to the front end, I got rid of the chrome grille, the chromed out lights, and the chrome scoop, as well as the valance down below was also chrome, and that is now black. So only thing chrome left is these, and I may pull them off and paint them, I don't know yet. I did pull the fog light bezels off and I painted those white. So a little white and black theme there going. Created a Next Level Neo logo out of metal, painted white and black, and billet grill inserts, as well as a white grill, and then a insert for the cooler down there on the bottom. I think that's the trans cooler, as well as the black up top there. All in all, it's coming around pretty good. And as for lights, as you guys all know, obviously I've got to do it my way. So here is the lights as they are. Do have a pretty cool flow with the strips in the grill here. These are our diffused SK6812s, and I did encase them in a clear shrink tubing just to add a little bit more waterproofing to it, with actually flowing backwards. I got my inputs on this side and it flows this way, and then I pulled the output to go back over, and then, you know, a lot of programming to get it all flowing together. I did actually use a splitter here, so it does go to here as well as down here and then flow, and then I just program it out. And then the inside of the lights are just black lights, OEM style, and then I put a one of our 3-inch LED projectors in the top and a 2.5-inch high beam in the bottom, as well as corner deletes, and did a little bit of a little Star Wars theme panel in there with RGB. And beyond that though, went a little bit further with it and went ahead and on the new black handles, I inserted some more of our SK6812s into the door handles. Now that's going to be part of what this video is going to be, is showing you guys how I made these handles. So if you are interested in making your own set, you will have a pretty good idea of how to do it, as well as a little bit of work on the other side to finish up. Now, you know, plans beyond that, obviously wheels are on the way, ordered, should be here, possibly before the end of this video actually. We'll see how long this video takes to record and whether or not we have them by then. I have also ordered that, so anything you see chrome, it's going away. Gives you an idea of what I have been up to trying to get this knocked out. Mostly just weekend work, night work right now, trying to get it squared away, but gives you an idea of where we're going with it. And once again, in this video, I am going to show you how I made those door handles. So we'll go ahead and go inside, get on the bench, and show you how to put them together. So we have our handles here. Now, different cars are going to be different ways, so you do need to consider whatever it is that you're driving, the way the handles are shaped, structured. This particular set is for a 2014 to 2019 Silverado, and it works really well for what we're doing here. So basically, a new pair of handles you can get online for like 50 bucks. It wasn't much. And quality overall seems to be pretty good. I'm sure you could get whatever color you're looking for, and we will be pulling the cover off. So if you were trying to color match or something like that, you can. I do believe these are available in black and chrome, but if you're color matching your truck, it would not be hard to just remove this, paint them, and then put them back on once it's cured. So as far as the backside goes, basically all I'm doing is just cutting out a channel to put LEDs in. So it does recess it. It makes it a little bit easier. You don't really notice it when you're grabbing the handle, when you're opening it up. You can feel that there is something there, but it's not that bad. And for the the offset that you are getting more illumination, it does look really cool on the truck. I think it's worth the hassle of that. And another cool thing about the design of these handles that makes it work really well is that there's actually already a little cut here and almost like a channel for wiring right there in the handle. Well, you can see it on this one as well here. Now this one still has the little rubber cap on there, but you just pull that right off. And you can see there's a little groove in here where you can easily run wires out, and as well as a groove in this section here where it just routes it right into the car. So it works really well on these to run that. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take this apart. So basically it's two pieces. You have the plastic backing and then the painted cover. And so I'm just going to remove this little seal there. And then what you can see is up in the top here, it just kind of like snaps into place. And what we're gonna do is just use like a somewhat smaller flathead, but something that you can fit in here, and then just pry it outward and try to pop this out. And it can be a little bit of a challenge, so definitely have a little bit of patience here. So you can see the way that I went in, I just kind of pry it in and then pull back and try to get under that lip. So and I did mangle it a little bit. You're going to try to open these up, but you're just kind of getting up under here to try and push this open and pull it back out. And it's really difficult to, but you can try to get in through this area here. But there's a little bit of a lip there, so that is more difficult, maybe with a hook. I didn't try it with something like a hook like this. It might be a little easier, but that's the basic idea. You're just pulling that section back so that you can pull it out. It would be much more difficult to try to open it from the other side, because that is actually a much bigger lip on the back side. So ideally, you're gonna wanna open it up on that side there, but it will just come right out, and that'll go right back together, no problem. If you want to, you could add a little bit of glue when you seal it back up, but I did not, and it seems to be holding up fine. So now what we have here is the back side, and what I found that's really interesting, we will be using the UCS 2904's 8mm wide strips for this, and they fit just about perfect in between these two little support ridges. And obviously they're there to help give the handle some rigidity, so ideally you don't want to cut those out. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut between them, so that way there's a little channel there that we can just poke those LEDs right out, and that'll shine against the car, light everything up real nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ultrasonic cutter to cut a groove out in between these 2 points here, and try to cut it as straight as you can. And then in the end, this will be where we shine our LEDs through. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So to finish cutting it out and just cleaning up the edges, just to have a nice clean look there. But as you can see, there's plenty of room here for us to put the LED strip aiming down. That way we can illuminate. Now, obviously this is not waterproof, so that is something we're gonna have to work on. Also, go ahead and wire in the connections. Now, in the case of our truck, it is a crew cab, so I do have 4 doors, so I'm doing the front doors into the rear doors, and that way it kind of flows together. So I do need to pull an output from this as well. Now, you don't have to pull power and ground outputs. You can get away with just pulling the data output. So I'm going to run power, ground, and data in, and I'm going to run 1 wire for our output here. Something that I usually keep is the extensions for our halos. So if you use our halos a lot inside of a light, the 1 meter extensions do give you quite a bit to play with. A lot of times in my case, I'm soldering things in and stuff like that, so this stuff is just scraps. I'll keep it for stuff just like this. That way I've got the braided sleeving, I've got 20 gauge wiring, which is plenty for such a small strip. Not really a huge benefit to using 18 here. It's kind of overkill. So I'm going to use some of that to strap on there, and then I will run a line out running back. So that's going to be kind of my idea, is that all the wires will be coming out of the front end of it and none out the back side. Now I've got the wires soldered on, ready to go there. I did just use just some little silicone wire that I had a roll of behind me here for the data line, and it's just going to run just like that. Now, obviously for waterproofing purposes, we're going to have to do something. What I'm going to use is this heat shrink tubing here that is clear, and it works really well for this stuff. It is a 3-to-1, so it's pretty thick versus like a 2-to-1. And it also 3-to-1, that's the ratio, so it will shrink as much as 1/3 the size of this, so it works really well. And for this one, I can just slide it right over like so. And I've already cut it to size. They come in bigger rolls, so I just got I got a big roll that I got up there on the board, and I just cut it down to size, and it fits on just like that. And what I'm going to do is just hit this, shrink it around that, and then I am going to put a little bit of the Gorilla Glue contact adhesive into the ends to help add a little bit more waterproof on the sides. So there it is. We hit it with the heat there to get the shrink tubing down. I do have the glue going in both sides there. I went a little bit liberal with it. I do want it to make sure that it is in there really good. Plenty of glue in there, sealed up, ready to go. This is a really good way to waterproof these if that is something you need to do, and you want to use UCS, you want to use something like that. This is a really good way to be able to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our newly created strip here and we're going to put it in, and keeping in mind that the wires are going to run out this side here. So when you line it up, you're going to want it like that. And ideally, obviously we did cut the strip to be just a little bit bigger than the opening that we're doing. That'll be perfectly fine. Ideally, you want the most LEDs that you can aiming out. So we're just going to line that up as close as we can. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these clamps here and I'm just going to use them to hold it in place. Now I did this off camera, but one thing to make sure as well, go ahead and test the strip, make sure that everything lights up, you don't have any issues there before you go ahead and secure it down, because otherwise you're gonna have to remove it, replace it, you know, whatever the case be. So just double check that, make sure you're good. I did, mine's fine. So we're gonna go ahead and lock it down now. Back to the Gorilla Glue. This stuff is just, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't heard me say it 100 times, this is by far the best glue for retrofitting purposes that I've ever seen. It's just really good for shocks, really good for stuff like that. I still use CA glue. This is more like a tack welder, and this is like your final weld, you know, so use this to get things positioned where they need to be. And in our case, we don't need to because I can use the clamp. But you know, this stuff is going to take, you want to give it a couple hours to dry, so you got to keep that in mind. This stuff will take a couple minutes, you know, like a minute, and it's dry if you're using the activator. So you know, each of them have their purpose. I use both, but this is the stuff that I'm going to use for this because it's going to hold up better, a lot stronger long term, and have some flexibility to it. Let's say you open the door handle and you push a little bit on that LED strip, you're not going to have to worry that it's going to just break free and then be dangling in there, which would be the case with this. This stuff, while it does create a strong bond, the bond does not have flex to it. So at a certain point, if you put too much pressure on it or vibrations or things like that, it will eventually break free. So in this case, this stuff is going to take the flex. It's going to work well. So I'm going to go ahead and put it inside the back here and just basically create a seal. Now, one thing to remember with this stuff, that it will yellow. So you don't want to put it like directly in front of the LED itself, or like your whites will not look white anymore. They might look yellow. So that's something to consider. Like, I would not pack the inside of the shrink tubing with this, because you would run that risk that it does start becoming yellow. If you wanted to pack it, you could probably use a silicone. I honestly don't myself, so I couldn't tell you what to get. But in any case, you want to make sure whatever you do use, if it's going to be in direct line of LEDs, it's UV resistant, because that's a lot of what it is that the UV light, the light itself from the LEDs is what turns stuff yellow and discolors it. So if it's going to be that close to the LED, you want to get something that is UV resistant. I went ahead and got the back side there pretty good, and now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do these corners here. And it's basically just to try to keep some of the water that you're inevitably going to get on this handle from climbing up into the door handle itself. Now, the door handle, you know, obviously it can drain the water out. That won't be an issue if you do get water in there. But, you know, the less water you get in, the less chances that anything electrical gets water inside of it. So it's a little bit overkill, but I would recommend doing it that way. As you can see, you know, it gives you a basic idea. Keep in mind, this stuff, while it is fairly thick, it still will try to run. So like, I like to just kind of like lay the handle like that. So it's kind of like, if it goes anywhere, it's just going to go down. If you lay it like this, you're going to start to get drooping on the inside. If you lay it the other way, you'll get drooping out the other way, you know, so that kind of works. Just keep that in mind, just a little thing. But all right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we will come back after everything's dried and snap our little cover back on, and then that's pretty much it. We're ready to go ahead and put it on the truck. But I will show you how to remove the door handles on that truck. Once again, every car is going to be different. So if you have a 14 to 19 Silverado, cool, follow the video. If not, yeah, you got to figure out on your vehicle how to remove the handles. But we'll come back shortly. Sorry, now we're gonna go ahead and remove the old handles and get ready to put the new ones on. And we're gonna have to remove the door panel here so that we can run all the wiring. The cover here actually secures in the front part of this handle here, which will make the rest of the handle pop out. So that part's actually not too bad. And then around the door, we do have various points where we're gonna have to pop the covers off and remove screws, as well as 2 more down on the bottom here. And we're gonna have to remove this front cover in order to get to another screw that's back there. So on the back side, you do have a connection up here that's just a little flap. You pull up, the plug pulls right out, and there is a connection for the door release right here. So inside this hole that's covered with a little cap, you're gonna pull the cap off and you'll see the screw right up to the front. And you got a T15 bit And just like that. And then a front here. And then just use a little magnet to try to grab a hold of it. Pull that screw right out. You just kind of wiggle it out a little bit and it'll come right out. And we'll put that to the side. As far as the door handle itself goes, you can actually just pull it back and then just like that, just kind of work it out. It'll come right out, so you get the handle off. Now we're gonna go to the inside of the car here again and just kind of pull back this area here. You got some little butyl-like glue here holding the panel in place. You just kind of carefully pull that back because you're gonna want to use it again to secure it in place. And that'll give us access to the door handle hole. Now for the door handle itself, we're just gonna slide our wiring right through. It's gonna go right through this front hole here. And if you want, while you got the handle off, you can just go ahead and wipe off a little bit around there, and then we'll slide it right through. And then just pushing the handle up into that, and then you could pull it right back and slide this in. Now on the back side, there's gonna be another little cap here that we can pull off. And with a flathead, you kind of have to play around with it a little bit as to where everything is located, but there is the little spring latch that the handle goes into, and you're gonna have to push it forward to slide the handle into it, and then that'll lock it in place. So really hard to show on camera, but I'm gonna go ahead and just poke that part in. And I did finally get it in there. Once again, it does take a little bit of finagling to try to get it in there. But then once you get that, we can just pull the handle open and this will slide right in. And this basically just holds the handle from falling out. So as you saw, it's actually not that hard to pull the handle off once you remove this back piece. Back piece just keeps it from trying to slide out. So we're gonna go ahead and use our little magnet again here and start screwing this screw in, and we'll go ahead and tighten it down the rest of the way. Then we can go ahead and put our caps back on. Then we're going to run our wires up into here, at least for the way that I'm going to do it. You could try to fish them this way, but I'm going to fish them this way. So just a bunch of pop tabs there to remove that out. Set it to the side. You can kind of see in here where you have the little cable running areas there. And basically we're just going to pop them both off. So we got the wires ran. As you can see, I got them coming down in here and they come back across. So right there, I've just got them spliced in and I'm just gonna let them hang down in there. You could secure it in place if you really want to, but you know, the key parts is that it just stays out of the way of the window track itself. And then it is running up through the cable gland there. I've already put that back together and then fished it down in here. As you can see, I've just got it all spliced together here with string tubing and all that. And basically I have the wire coming from the front light, which is here. And then it comes in and I've got the data from the front that goes into the door, and then coming out of the door on the blue line, I have the data that will go to the back door. And so I will be running this under all that to the back door and following pretty much the same process to run through here. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that through now and then we'll come back. All right, so I finished up getting all the wiring done and running everything inside of the doors, putting the doors back together, running it to the front. As you can see, basically I just ran it through the firewall here. There's a grommet down there that you can run it through. It is not easy, so just be prepared for a little bit of a struggle, but you can get it in there, especially if you got some fish line. And then I just ran it up through along here, and you can see it just running up under there. So mostly clean. I'll use some zip ties to secure that in place a little bit better. but you know, it's not going to get in the way of anything. So once again, I am going first into the lights, and then it comes out of the lights into this top strip and the bottom strip. I've actually got them split. So they split, the data ends are in the middle, and then it flows outward. That way they're somewhat uniform. And then the output comes from here and goes to this side of the car, and the output here goes to this side of the car. And so it'll be a little difficult to see because it is really bright out. These are really meant more for nighttime. It's not gonna blow anybody away during the day, but you can see them in the daytime as well. At nighttime though, they really do look good. Shines really well. You can see everything really good. And yes, I did get the wheels. I got them installed today. We are going to be doing a NorCal mod, is what seems like most everybody calls it, but basically trimming the fenders a little bit to fit a little better, because they do rub, and that was expected. I was hoping it would clear, but I pretty much knew it wasn't going to. We went with a little bit more of a meaty stance, bringing it out 18, negative 18 on the offset from a factory plus 44. So it's about a 3.5 inch outward movement, 10-inch wheel. Fuel Runners is the model and brand. And then we got them wrapped in Nitto grapplers that are 285/50 R22s. So I think this is about 11.5 by 33, I think is the math there. And as you can see, I'm already rubbing a little just the drive home. So I'm gonna take it right out today, and we are going to get that NorCal mod fixed, and that will eliminate the rubbing that I'm seeing down in here where it's hitting when I turn. So it can be driven. Thankfully, I'm in town, so it is not a long drive. I will get it up the road. I'm about 2 miles from Chaos here in Winchester. So they will be doing it for me. The stance, I think, is exactly what I wanted. It's not crazy. I don't really want to lift the truck because it is still primarily just for function. It is meant to haul cars. While, you know, I could probably go with something really crazy and spend a bunch of money, I'd rather spend that money on the Skyline, rather spend that money on new stuff for you guys, new parts, new, you know, development. We do have much in the works. So, you know, much as I'd love to build out a truck to whatever crazy levels I could, it just doesn't really make sense. So I get in this one where I want it, and I've got a little bit more to do on the passenger side, but coming up against the clock now, so I'm gonna have to take it in to get the stuff worked on for the wheels. And while they're doing that, I'm gonna get back to work on Next Level Neo Brag and Light stuff, some lights to build and things like that. So yeah, new parts coming down the line and everything else. But yeah, if you have a truck like this, or you have one with similar handle setups, it's a pretty cool upgrade if you want to do that to your truck. And I was able to tie them in with the headlights. I did use signal boosters just to be safe. I don't know that I necessarily would have had to, but just for coming from the front to the back, it's a pretty long run, and I really didn't want to run the risk of having issues and have to go back in later and add them. So I did go ahead and add those in right at the front going to the back. I didn't worry about from door to door, even though if you want to be extra careful, that's not a bad idea to do. But in my case, I didn't do it. It was fine. So it gives you an idea, and I'm gonna put a link in the description for this video for some of the parts that I used. I'll try to cover everything. If I miss something, let me know, and I will try to get that in the description as well. But thanks for watching, guys, and until the next one.